good morning. Pastor Steve here. Turn this time to Daniel chapter 6, verses 10 through 17. I've been kind of visiting these characters this week and getting us to have the expected response from God. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home in his upper room with his windows open toward Jerusalem. He knelt down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as was his custom since early days. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. And they went before the king and spoke concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man who petitions any god or man within 30 days, except you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? Then the king answered and said, Yeah, this thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which does not alter. So they answered and said, that Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, doesn't show due regard for you, O king, or for the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. And the king, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself. And he set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men approached the king and said to the king, King, O king, you know it's the law of the Medes and the Persians that no decree or statute which the king establishes may be changed. So the king gave his command, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. But the king spoke, saying to Daniel, Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you? Then a stone was brought up and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring, and the signet of his lords, that the purpose concerning Daniel might not be changed. Daniel was the guy who early in his ministry purposed in his heart to serve God and not get sucked into the easy lifestyle of the king. Neb offered him great stuff, but he said, No, I'm going to stick with what I know is right for me. Now, after the Persian Empire had taken over, he was still faithful, and God was still watching over him. I want to notice one thing here. Daniel didn't see the edict and then begin to pray because of it. Daniel knelt down on his knees 3 times that day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as it was his custom since the early days. Many people want to start in rebellion to do something that they're told not to do. This was an established pattern, established habit. People were upset when prayer and Bible reading was removed from the schools, but the sad fact is that it had been removed from many of the homes a long time before that in many cases. Daniel had committed to follow the Lord as a youngster. As an old man, he stayed with that commitment and kept his faith even when he knew the end result might mean his death. We're called to be faithful, to read and pray and teach the simple truths of the Word. There may one day, and maybe soon, come when we're in prison for that. I don't know. But if that day comes, may we be called out for what we always did and not for what we just started doing in rebellion to the law. You ponder that, Pastor Steve.